On a vibrant spring day in 2010, Manchester was alive with celebration. The city's beloved football team had just clinched a decisive victory, routing their rivals with a staggering 9-1 scoreline in the season's final match. At the same time, across the nation's political stage, a prominent leader declared their resignation after a crushing electoral defeat that saw their party lose over 100 seats in a single week. While the spotlight shone on stadiums and parliamentary halls, a quieter but far more revolutionary event unfolded in the shadows at a historic venue in the heart of the capital. The Royal Academy of Science, a venerable institution founded in the 17th century to champion bold ideas and discoveries, hosted a gathering that slipped under the radar of all but the most astute watchers. Known for its legacy of fostering breakthroughs, from the unraveling of gravitational mysteries to the cataloging of exotic flora, this bastion of knowledge had long been a cradle for transformative thought. That May, the Academy convened a diverse assembly of brilliant minds to explore a radical frontier, the science of longevity. Spearheaded by trailblazers in genetics, bioinformatics, and neuroscience, the two-day symposium drew luminaries from across the globe. One researcher unveiled how a tweak in a single gene could double the lifespan of tiny organisms, challenging entrenched assumptions about the inevitability of decline. Another shared revelations about a protein that safeguards cellular youth in simple fungi, preventing decay from passing to the next generation. A third discussed how pathways preserved across species hinted at untapped potential to slow mammalian aging, while a fourth showcased miniature rodents defying time, outliving their peers by years. From cancer's cellular betrayals to the genetic secrets of centenarians, the presentations wove a tapestry of evidence pointing to a startling conclusion. By the gathering's end, these 19 pioneers had forged a bold consensus. Aging is not an unchangeable fate, but a condition ripe for intervention. Later that year, a leading scholar of life's twilight years crystallized their findings, arguing that the ailments we tie to old age, heart failure, memory loss, brittle bones, are not standalone scourges, but ripples of a deeper, treatable current. In essence, they proposed a seismic shift. Aging itself is the malady. The weight of an ancient assumption to call aging a disease might sound audacious, even heretical. For centuries, societies have framed it as the natural arc of existence, a universal journey from cradle to grave. We see time's toll everywhere, in the weathered bark of ancient oaks, the graying muzzles of loyal hounds, the fleeting dance of sparrows overhead. Dust returns to dust, or so the story goes, a narrative so ingrained that it once shaped how we recorded life's end. In the 1600s, when death logs first emerged in Europe, worn out by years or frailty of age, sufficed as explanations, alongside quaint culprits like sorrow or a bad fright. Yet as knowledge advanced, so did precision, modern. Medicine rejected vague notions of dying from old age, insisting on pinpointing a proximate cause: stroke, infection, organ failure. Today, a global catalog of over 14,000 conditions underpins this quest for specificity, guiding everything from hospital budgets to research grants. The more a killer claims lives on paper, the more fiercely we fight it. Cancer garners billions. Diabetes commands crusades. Aging? It lurks as the silent giant, unlisted and unfunded, despite being the root from which these branches spring. Doctors shy away from naming age as the assassin, lest they face bureaucratic pushback or peer scorn. One expert famously dismissed the idea of pure aging deaths as absurd, arguing pathology always lurks beneath. But this sidesteps a deeper truth. While a fall might break the rope, it's the fraying over decades that sets the stage. Aging isn't just a bystander. It's the architect of the cliff's edge, ushering us all toward it with relentless patience. In 1825, a shrewd mathematician named Edwin Hawthorne codified this grim rhythm in what he dubbed the mortal curve. His equations revealed two forces at play: a random tick of chance, like a vase teetering on a shelf, and an accelerating decay that doubles death's odds roughly every decade past youth. His work, though abstract, proved prophetic, mirroring patterns in creatures from fruit flies to field mice. For humans, cleaner water and fewer plagues peeled back external threats, exposing this internal clockwork. By the 19th century, mortality rates bared its stark math. After 50, survival plummeted, with only a fortunate few riding the curve's tail past 100. Even now, as lifespans stretch, adding nearly 2 decades since 1960, the ceiling holds firm. At 80, your odds of reaching 100 hover at a slim 3%. At 115, they're a whisper in the wind. Hawthorne's law whispers a somber truth: time spares no one, not yet. The fragile thread: consider a woman named Clara, a seamstress whose life unraveled in her 50s. A lifelong habit of pipe smoking caught up with her, birthing a grapefruit-sized shadow in her chest. Her son, a biologist, had long pleaded with her to quit, once even pilfering her tobacco stash as a child. "Life's been kind enough," she'd shrug. "Anything more is a gift." When the diagnosis came, fury gave way to resolve. Surgery stole one lung, leaving her tethered to a faltering other, its tissue crumbling under a genetic quirk that hastened the end. She lived on, though. 2 more decades of threading needles across continents, marveling at her grandchildren's laughter. Clara's tale splits 2 ways. She was unlucky, her genes and choices aligning for an early blow. Yet she was fortunate. 2, young enough when struck to rally, her youth a shield against immediate collapse. Smoking shaved years off her clock, a fact we've battled with bans and warnings. Cancer's chaos we've met with vast sums. Aging's role? We nod and move on as if it's a guest we can't evict. Yet the process hums beneath the surface long before wrinkles or weariness announce it. In youth, subtle shifts, say an early bloom in a girl's body, hint at a hastened tempo. By our 40s, the signs grow louder. A marathoner's pace slows, a footballer's agility fades. Outliers dazzle. Think of a veteran striker still, scoring at 42, but they're rare stars in a dimming sky. Simple gauges tell the tale. How many push-ups can you muster past 45? Can you rise from the floor in one fluid leap? Studies whisper that those who falter here often fade sooner. Time etches its mark on all. Skin sags, knees creak, resilience ebbs. A child's scraped knee mends with a hug. An elder's cut festers, a quiet peril. For the frail, a stumble can spiral into a shroud. Half of those over 65 who snap a hip don't see 6 months. Clara's mother, felled by a twisted rug at 87, survived the scalpel only to drift away, her spark dimmed by oxygen's absence. Age turns minor woes into mortal threats, a breeze enough to topple the unsteady. If a virus wrought such havoc, we'd wage war. Instead, we call this waning fragility and shrug, a foe unmatched, yet unchallenged. The maze of modern healing step into a bustling medical hub, and the map unfolds, one wing for broken bones, another for lung repair, a third for battling rogue cells. Research labs mirror this maze, each silo chasing its own quarry. Heart cures here, sugar fixes there. Geriatrics tends the already weathered, not the weathering itself. No surprise, then, that few healers choose this path. This patchwork traces back to a time when naming the enemy was triumph enough. It still saves lives, one disease at a time. But victory over a single foe doesn't halt the march of others. Worse, some cures sow new seeds. Radiation banishes one tumor only to beckon. Another, a patched hip, strains the heart. The tally of years barely budges. Halt all heart disease, gain a mere 18 months. Erase cancer, add just over 2 years. The clock ticks on, unswayed. Picture health as a steeplechase, not a stroll. Each hurdle, stroke, dementia, fracture looms. Higher, closer. Clear one, and the next waits undeterred. Our arsenal, honed to fell single beasts, costs dearly, yet yields little against the tide. What if, instead, we leveled the track itself? The cost of compartmentalization lifespans stretch, yet vitality lags. Scholars note we've outpaced death more than misery, years gained, but not years savored. A grim metric, the burden of lost wellness, tallies this gap. In some lands, it steals a decade of vigor, in others, over twice that. Progress stalls, a damning stillness amid our tools and triumphs. No charts are needed to see it. At 50, mirrors reflect our forebears. At 65, dodging ailments feels like luck. By 80, few escape a chorus of woes. One study pegs 85-year-olds at 4 to 5 afflictions apiece. Arteries clog, minds blur, joints seize. Each has its own textbook, its own tower of study. Yet one thread binds them, time's unrelenting pull. Clara's final chapter underscores this. Tobacco's poison quintupled her cancer odds, a risk we've rallied against with global might. But age? It amplifies that threat 100-fold by 50, 1,000 by 70. The same surge haunts every major killer. Nations balk at this Goliath, resigned to, that's just how it is. A call to arms aging dims us. It curbs joy. It carves a distinct ruin. By any measure, it's a plague, save one. It spares no one. Manuals dub it irreversible decline, a fate sealed beyond choice or chance. Imagine branding cancer, or rot as such. Once we did, until we dared to defy them. Labels shape wars. Tag aging as untouchable, and it stays unfought. No funds, no trials, no hope. We've surrendered before the trumpet sounds. But a rebellion brews, fierce and worldwide. Why fuss over rare ills when a universal cure beckons? One that could blunt every blade time wields? Picture a future unveiled, a hidden germ woven into our essence, drives decline. A remedy emerges, and the healed outlive us by half a century, pitying our blind acceptance of frailty at 50, a scant 80 years as enough. Fiction, yes, but echoes linger. Selfish strands in our code may indeed hasten ruin. If so, would we purge them or let them fester? Does their ubiquity absolve them or flip the lens? In a world where 150 is the norm, a clan wilting at 80 earns a name, a cure, a crusade. Such a fate befell those with Werner's curse, decrepit at 40, yet no one scoffed at calling it sickness. Aging's toll dwarfs all else, yet we slumber. Suppose a slip of paper rewrote your years, 92 today. Would you crumble? No. Vitality, not digits, defines us. Health bends age's rules. So why not fight the creeping blight that stalks us all? This isn't orthodoxy's path. It's a leap from silos to source, a dam not on streams, but at the river's head. Aging bends to science. It's a foe we can face, a battle we can win. And in victory, we'd rewrite life itself.